Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Let's try that again. I was muted.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Let's try that for the third time's a charm. Got the actual fucking mic work. First time, muted. Second time, computer, so if it sounded like awful audio, I apologize. But we should be rocking and rolling now. Welcome, December 1st, 2025. First trustworthy of December. Here we go. I'm trying to share this, but for the life of me, I don't think Twitter will let me share this, which is great because it's just, things that changed. There we go. Man, things that change with Twitter or X or StreamYards every day. I get it. They'll change some stuff, but every day it's changing. But yes, thank you to everyone that is joining me live or listening after the fact. I had to take off the It review yesterday because we were doing the Christmas tree. Didn't even get it fully done. Unfortunately, we got a Christmas tree that has a bit of a small base, so that was kind of a pain. We got that up, got some lights up, so then tonight can be some decoration. But I will be on side quest for the video game predictions, and then what else we got cracking this week? Weekly Geek is on Tuesday with Dylan and Kirkland, I believe. And then what is happening? Thursday, we got just a regular news episode. It's going to be me, Kirkland, and Taylor taking questions, talking about random stuff. That'll be a good time. And then, this weekend we're recording some stuff. If you're a Patreon producer, you'll get that super early. We're recording, it got booted, but we're recording the Rise of Skywalker commentary track and the Scary Movie commentary track. If you are a patron at the certain tier, I think it's the phase 10 and up, you'll get them in when those movies come out. But if you're a producer, everything we do, that's even the exclusive content, you get early. And a big shout out to the Patreon producers. Thank you to Aaron Braden, April Darkness, Jack Rant, Sam, Superbad Mike, Gallowsy69, Charlie Randall, Cocktail Clay, John No H, and Sam Green. If you want to do that, lots of good stuff coming next year, as we've talked about. I can't remember what it is. I think it's like 29 or 30 exclusive episodes if you go on that one, because you get every single thing we're doing. We're doing a bunch of retros. We're doing the flashback episodes, doing commentary tracks, doing the originals, and then 12 bread and butters for the Patreon producers. It's going to be a good time. And last but not least on Patreon, go there. Will be, I didn't put in there, but in 2 days, or for the next 2 days, you have the Christmas movie retrospective. We'll be reviewing whatever people put in there. So if you're a patron, put in your pick, and you'll have until Wednesday. And then on Wednesday, we will put up the poll and see what you pick. It's always random. You never know what you're getting with these retrospectives, you know. So, go there. I don't want to, try to make people bias or go a certain way, but people didn't. I don't think we've ever gotten it, and I would love a Christmas Carol, any version of me in there. Kirkland has never seen a Christmas Carol. He also was speaking kind of poorly of it. And we had the Geek First Christmas party this weekend, and he talked about how he played an elf in the Christmas Carol, and I had to inform him that that is not a real role in said one. I gotta fix my Santa hat, Bad hair day. I'm keeping. Luckily, hopefully, I can get my hair cut soon. I got some stuff to film this week that has hair that has, obviously looks like something from another film. So I need to keep that going, but I'm very excited to get it cut because it's very just kind of all over the place. But yeah, Kirkland was kind of dog walking or trashing Christmas Carol, but he did that thing where I'm like, oh, well, when's the last time you've seen it? You say, oh, I don't think you've ever seen it. So it's like, okay, well, come on now. So would love that, any version, almost any version. But yeah, whatever you want to put in there, go ahead, and we'll be reviewing that at some point next week, and that'll release. And yeah, lots of good stuff. It chapter or whatever. Fuck, I screw up all the time. Welcome to Dairy Reviews up there. We're re-releasing the Avatar reviews because obviously that's on the way. We'll talk about that. And yeah, and Trust told you, as far as I know, should be on the Wednesday. I think that's what's happening. So, I think everything's good. And then the next week after, we'll see what happens. I might change up some days because I do have a couple days off. So I just don't know. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. So look out for that. I'll kind of see. I'll say tentatively I'll be there on the Monday. Tentatively, I think so. I think Monday's probably a lock. But again, if something changes, I'll let you know. Oh, Oh, isn't that the worst? You feel like a net crack's coming and nothing. But so lots of good stuff coming. December. Thank you everyone that listened. November. That was a good month. And check out. We have our Knives Out review on there. Stranger Things. I reviewed that last week. So if people want to check out that out, we've got the spoilers version of all those episodes. So yeah, I'm just chilling. Not much news going on right now. I guess some stuff's popping off on my phone. I guess what is this? An event movie in the Sonic universe will release December 22nd, 2028. Don't know what an event universe is. I guess it's just going to be a bunch of, I guess either just a spin-off or I don't know, just their Avengers, but they're already doing their Avengers, right? Isn't like, what is it here? Wasn't Sonic 3 like have all of them and everything? So yeah, I don't know, but we'll see. What is it here? Okay, so upcoming. Okay, that would help me. Okay, so upcoming Sonic theatrical films. So Sonic 4. Okay, so December 2027, and then Untitled event film in 2028. Man, Mario. I doubt that's it, but that's interesting. And then what was the other thing that was listed here? The live action Turtles getting released November 17th, 2028. Don't love that day. And that's the news we've been having, right? Like news is like because also we had the American holidays last week. And obviously if you had not Christmas, Thanksgiving, food, all the good jets, hope you had a good time. If not, hope you watched the movies, just hung on. If you worked, yeah, that sucks, but you're making some money. So you know what? At the end of the day, that works out for you. But yeah, so happy Thanksgiving to all the people that celebrated last time or last week for the listeners. But yeah, there's not been much news. It'll start breaking the next little bit. There's some C tier scoopers saying that we could get the Avengers trailer as soon as like next week, which that would be hard to imagine for myself. I feel like they'll wait it, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. We got that. Apparently, we got Supergirl happening next week because it's like at CCXP or whatever. So yeah, the news is going to start flowing. Hopefully by Thursday and tomorrow when they have a cast. But yeah, so Turtles in November. I don't really know about that. I don't know. I feel like Turtles is a summer movie, So as Bub says, watched Wake Up Dead Man last night. Really enjoyed it. Like it more than Glass Onion, but not more than Knives Out. I think that's most people. I like because we talked about this on the review. So if you listen, as Bub, sorry I repeat it, but for people that don't, yeah, we did. There's the non-spoilers review on our feed. We will drop the spoilers one. It is on YouTube because honestly, like spoilers reviews sometimes do better there because I feel like that community searches for them on YouTube versus podcasting, not as much. So when that movie comes out next week or this week, well, yeah, I guess that's this week, right? December 7th, I think. This week our spoilers review will drop out there. So I probably just put on Patreon here soon. But I think a lot of people I think I'm in the minority where I do think Glass Onion is a step down from Knives Out, but I think it was like such a drastic fall. Like I had it as like a 0.5 Parth. Oh, exactly, man. Honestly, this is just because the hair is awful. As I talked about, I've not had cuts. So the way it's growing out right now, if I do not wake up, shower, do it a certain way in the brush, and then put the pomade on, it's looking bad. It's not good. I haven't got it cut because, like I said, we're doing some filming, so I got to keep a certain way, but it's not good. So anytime the Santa hat's breaking out, that means bad hair day, which was today, but hopefully I'll get that cut soon. But I like Glass Onion to me was like a 0.5 down for that. And there you go. You really like Glass Onion too. Just thought Dead Man was still above. That's good. Yeah, I have Dead Man last. I had some issues with I think I suffer from the Glass Onion thing where there's too many characters, didn't get to know enough of them. And I think the third act's a little messy, but it's still good. Like I'll take as much of these I can get as long as they can stay. I think I give this like a 7.5, 8, like somewhere in there. I think I need to rewatch it again. I think as long as these can stay as a 7, sure, granted that it sounds bad, like, oh, stay as a 7. But like, I'm someone that's like, it's fine just to have good movies. And I think we talk about all the time at Geekverse, right? Or After 9, which will be happening sometime in December. Like, I'm perfectly fine with a 7. There's many movies that are a 7 that I love, right? So if they can keep them that way, that's great. But yeah, definitely I had that ranked last, but still good time. So I'm glad you enjoyed it, sir. And check out The Gimmick. Speaking of S-Bubs, we talked about Survivor Series, talked about kind of a classic. We talked about if Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns is going to be wrestling at WrestleMania for the third time. That might be French to you, but I don't know. But let's pull it up here. So let's get into it. So yeah, today I got a question from Mike about some Christmas stuff, so that's good. So live chat, if you are a patron or want to send the super chat, go ahead because then we can talk about things. But lighter show today because like I said, there's not much news right now, but like look at this. It was predicted. It's one of these things where it is kind of like for us when Toy Story or Monsters University or other ones, right? You take so long to get a sequel. We're in that time where it's like My Kids, where Zootopia, like I think Zootopia 1 was 2017, right? When was it? It's 2016. So I didn't even have a kid at that point. When was 2017? But the idea is they grow up with these things, right? Like even to my right when I saw the movies, which I'll talk about my review in a second. I think there was girls that were 14, 15, but like locked in, not like annoying, not on the phone or anything. Like they checked a couple times. I'm completely fine with that. We live in that culture. I don't know people's lives, but I'm fine if you do like the look, even if like I do that to check the time, right? I never do there to like unless the movie's awful, but usually I haven't had that experience, or if I'm in the back row, but I'm fine with that. They were perfectly fine, great, and which is had a little iffy, and especially kids showing too. I'm expecting more talking and stuff. Like I'm not. You guys know my Ghostbuster story. At a kids movie, and it's primarily like adults and kids. I'm pretty lax with the rules there, you know. So, but that's where I could just tell they were of the age of man. They grew up with this, right? They're friend. Like I'm just putting their backstory, but like assuming they're friends, they're sitting together talking, whether they are sisters, family, or just friends that grew up with it. They are in that age where in the aughts in the late 2000s, my age was getting a lot of sequels where it's like, oh, we've finally been waiting for a follow up, right? Incredibles, another Toy Story, Monsters University, which I'm a big defender of, a big fan of that. Where's Monsters 3? I don't know. But now we're in that age with Moana 2 and Zootopia 2 to prove that again. Don't get me wrong, when Moana 2 blew up the way it did, which I thought it would still do well, but it did way better than I thought. I think a lot of other people thought, right? Like, what is it like? Is it Moana 2, right? I think we talked about it was like the biggest animated movie all time. That's wrong, right? Or was it? Moana 2, let's just put in biggest animated movie. I think we checked that. I think it's just a weird not checking counting Nisa 2, and I'm not counting Lion. Oh no, sorry, it was Inside. Was it? What the hell? Where is this? I'm not counting Lion King. Sorry, Mike, that's not happening. Sorry, it was Inside Out 2, but still Moana 2, number 10. That's what it was, and that's where it's like, and Inside Out 2, right? That's another one too, where it's like that was of that era, and we're seeing the same fact that those were so successful, these new ones, Moana, Inside Out 2, obviously Frozen whenever it happens, and now Zootopia, we're in that new age of the nostalgia and what they grew up with, right? So with Inside Out 2 happening last year in Moana, I was not surprised this would be hitting a billion or be big, because I think Inside Out 2 being the biggest of all time, and I guess now Nisa 2, so granted the biggest North American film all time, that was like a whoa, okay, there's a big audience there. And then Moana 2 hitting a billion when it was going to be on Disney Plus. Not that the audience knew that, but still, that was another wake up call. So I think we all kind of thought, okay, a billion is what's happening, right? And then even then, when it was, I think a couple weeks ago that the tracking came out that was tracking to be opening at 500 million, still thought that was nuts. You know, like we haven't seen obviously the animated stuff, but live action stuff we've seen some big thing. But I remember like Avengers Endgame, like making whatever it was like a billion, or I think we made a billion the first weekend, right? And that was like, we're never gonna see these numbers ever again. And I think we'll see to that extent, but you never know, right? Because even in this beat Avengers Endgame for the biggest day in China, which was crazy. It's this movie Zootopia is killing it over in China. Don't know why. Don't know. I'm not affiliated with the culture. I don't know enough of it. I wish my Uncle Jerry was alive, because he was always living like there or in Bangkok or Thailand. Like he was all over the place. So I could talk to him. And if any GV listeners are in China, let me know why like the Swiffering has to happen there, right? Like there's something where, and that's why international I can never guess, because it's like when Barbie's coming out, like, okay, with the culture and where we live, I can tell you Barbie's going to be a hit, especially with this quality and the people that are starring in it, right? With Zootopia, I knew it was going to be a hit here and overall, but I didn't know why it'd be so massive in China. The fact that it opened its, you know, whatever the main, I think it's 101 or 100.0, whatever. But in China, biggest day one opening at 100 million. It beat Avengers Endgame at 97. Now, granted, the past few years, we've definitely seen superhero movies and other things going down in China as far as those things we value, right? It's more, there's specific ones like an Avatar, like a Zootopia, where they glom onto like, hey, this is, we enjoy this one, right? The international Fast and Furious was like that before too, but now it's not like back in the day with like Suicide Squad 2016, when that didn't get China released, that was a big hit, because or sorry, like a big disadvantage, because not a big hit, because that's kind of counteractive what I'm saying. That was a time where you're putting these North American movies out in China, and they would not all of them kill, but could do really well, right? Like a Mine or like a Warcraft, right? So that's where it's like, man, when you're missing this market, same way as No Way Home, you're missing this market. That's a bunch of money left on the table. Where now we've seen not as much. They're not just accepting anything. Kind of felt like at a point, the big blockbusters, they would accept anything going on there, right? As Bob says, Zootopia was super popular in China. I forget which one. The Disney park says China, whole Zootopia land, and that I didn't know. I didn't look into the first one, and I just same thing want to know, like, Like, why? Is it just like the aesthetic of talking animals? Is it just that vibe? I don't know. But there you go. They love it over there, so it was Prime. But yeah, $100 million opening day, beat Avengers Endgame, and that to me is still huge because even if you're near like the trail off of superhero, them caring about it, that was the peak, right? Endgame was. I think it's always gonna be the peak, like barring movie tickets getting super inflated. I think that's the peak, and that was impressive, right? Very historic, but the fact that it beat that, that's very historic, well, and very impressive. So it had domestic opening of 158, and then a let's see, or was this was just a weekend? So I'll get the final number for the other days, I think, unless this is it here. I'll figure it out. But domestic opening of 158, and then international 104, and it was sitting at $559 million global. Let me just make sure that I wasn't sure if they were tracking the the Tuesday and Wednesday, even the Thursday, right? Let me just see here. Yeah, I think it's a little bit more. Oh no, it's not. Okay, so 559 is what it's finished at right now. Let me just check Box Office Mojo just to be sure. Obviously Monday, but to the point that of that, when me and the girls and Emily, we saw it on Wednesday here, and obviously for as we talked about at the beginning, there is not a holiday here in Canada, right? Okay, so it's yeah, it's 559 to 556 is the estimates right now. So still, that's great. Already half a billion. That's gonna be hitting a billion. That's done, right? And we'll talk about. I think this was still big. Like everyone knew Zootopia was going to be big, but I think this was bigger than people thought originally. So we'll have to see if we can get the other ones, and we'll take a look at that. But with Zootopia 2 here, and going to my little thoughts here, we saw it did open on Tuesday, but we saw it Wednesday at 4 p.m. I left work a little early. Girls had to skip a few things, some activities, but we wanted to see it. Gwen saw it again with her friends, and then Logan seeing it with Girl Guides. She chose not to because she just wanted to hang out with Grandma, so which is fine. But we went to go see it at 4 p.m. and we went to Cineplex. So for us, that's a theater chain that is it seats less people because it has very big, comfortable seats. Still a good amount of people in the theater, but it's we have Cineplex and then Landmarks. Landmarks, they don't have the nice seats, and it's very old school theaters where they've updated them, but a lot more people can fit in there, a lot more screens, right? So granted, that is a situation where we're going to a theater that has more limited things, but at 4 p.m. on a Wednesday in Canada on holiday, I was surprised that every single, and I legitimately mean this, front row, everything, sides, every single seat was sold out. I was glad I got tickets when I did. And that's the point where obviously it's still a little bit of time, but like I look at Avatar, same theater, that's not sold out, right? So that's where we've talked about, as I talked about with Taylor too, right? We talked about this on the last newscast. His prediction was Zootopia is going to beat Avatar. And we'll get into that in a second. That's where I was surprised that Zootopia here, 4 p.m. non-holiday Wednesday. A Thursday, I wouldn't be as surprised, but still a little. Friday, I wouldn't, because a lot of people get off early Friday or have different things or maybe skip a school or whatnot. But with a Wednesday, middle of the week, I thought it would still be a lot of seats sold because it's a smaller theater, but I did not think it would be sold out. And it was. It was busy. People are having a good time. Theater liked it. There's one lady. Don't you love, and this is, I was not offended at all by it, but don't you love when you're in a theater and you can tell there's a person that sees 1 to 2 movies a year and man was just having a ball. Everything, I can't remember what the hell his name is, but everything Jason Bateman's Fox said just killed with her. Just killed. Having like just the greatest time ever. Any joke that was a little more adult, I was like, oh, I couldn't believe. It's like, lady, I should show you Saltburn and just see what some of the stuff's going with, right? And that's fine because some people are like that. Lots of people aren't like myself or you guys that just consume movie after movie. It is like, I'll just watch this in the background, or if there's the odd one I'm really excited for, right? But theater was good vibes. So what did I think about it here? Let me take a drink of water. I have no hot take. It's kind of like what everyone said. It's I think I think I'm on the camp of I enjoy it because I feel like the narrative is it's a solid good time, but not like a step down from the first one. I do agree with that in the overall scheme of things. I don't think it's like such a far step down. It's almost like Glass Onion, where even that like it's tough because first Utopia, I feel the mystery's better, the chemistry of like God, what is the fucking Fox name? I know it's Judy Hopps, but Judy Hopps and what's his name? Oh, just and Nick Wilde. This Fox's name is Nick. There you go. I feel like Knives Out and Glass Onion, like 100%. Like It's I don't know. It's tough. I've only seen this one once. I feel like with that comparison, Knives Out is just far and away better than Glass Onion, even though I still enjoy Glass Onion. Right? I still think Zootopia 1 is a lot better than Zootopia, but not to that same degree. But it is still better. Like the reasons I listed, I think the chemistry of them meeting was fun, and that kind of this still has the buddy cop, the butt heads, but that's the first time, right? Kind of like Force Awakens. If you do it right, there is a fun specialty to the characters meeting and the introduced in the world. I think the mystery is better because I feel to be not that most people would care, but for minor spoilers, it feels like who the bad person is gets sets up in a very similar way to the first one. So the second this character goes on screen and acts this way, meaning I'm like, all right, that's the bad guy, right? And it was, and that's fine. I'm not expecting like Glass Onion or anything like that, or Wake Up Dead Man to have the same thing as Utopia, where I'm going to be questioning to the very finale who it is, right? That's fine if it's a more basic one, but that just kind of makes the plot feel a little. So people like the character, like the snake. I love Ki Hu Kwan. Didn't really sit with me as much as I was thinking, but what you are there for is Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde. Tons of cameos, tons of voices. When you get to the credits, it's crazy. I feel it is a little formulaic. Again, my sports is like the movie ends with a concert with Shakira, right? Like it hits those similar beats. It's just kind of like another venture with characters you like. But I had a good time. There were some good development moments with both Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde as far as the things they do, do in a negative light that they both could improve on. I like the mystery, the mystery and like the resolution enough of like what the problem is with the snakes. Like I won't spoil that, but it's nothing groundbreaking, right? But it's like okay, like I dig that. Zebros, that was fun having Pumpkin Reigns in there. The Rock is in this as well too, so you got lots of wrestlers going on. What else is in there? There was something else I thought, but I will say definitely as far as the mystery, it also hits similar elements as far as because they kind of do some like acceptance and semi racism in these, right? That was the whole thing of I can't remember what they are, like the primates or the big animals. Like we can't trust them for X, Y, and Z because they're aggressive, right? And kind of stereotypes that people put on other cultures. They do that with this too, with the snakes, and that's where it is just kind of hitting similar beats. The feel this is the way I'll describe it. It's nowhere near the drop off. It kind of has like a Hangover 2 element to it, right? Where it's like, we're going to do a lot of the similar things, but just be a lot less funny. Luckily, this one I won't say is a lot less funny. I still think I preferred the first one as far as that humor goes, but I will say, and even with the original Zootopia had elements of this. This one felt a lot more adult in the third act and with some of the jokes as well. Not as a sense of, this is why, because Taylor was asking some questions, and in the sense of, it's not Shrek levels where they're literally making a lot of like, sex jokes or drug jokes or anything like that. It's not to that degree, but it is, I feel like there's a couple lines that are lean a bit more on the adult side. And it is that humor where kids aren't going to understand it. It's completely fine. And even the pulp culture stuff, it sprinkled throughout Zootopia and sprinkled throughout this movie, but a lot in the third act. They're literally just saying straight lines from a movie. There's a full sequence, which I absolutely loved. If you know me, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. That was tributing a movie that I love. Me and Emily looked at each other. There's a music cue. It's like, oh, this is great. And I really appreciated that. I really enjoyed that. It just felt like this one had a lot more Shrekisms in that way. So if you like that, that's there. But yeah, I think you'll have a good time. Like, do you need to see in theaters? If you have kids, maybe sure. If you don't, but if you really love Zootopia, then sure, yeah, you'll enjoy it. If you just like it, Zootopia, and want to see it at some point, I think it's a perfectly fine Disney Plus watch. But obviously, make and bank. I'm sure it's gonna have a great Tuesday. We're going into December, which, and I guess we could talk about too, because Wicked had also good like. I don't have the exact stats, but it's like third best Thanksgiving weekend, this and that. Like it's still held up, right? So that's where we talked about last week, where okay, how is that going to do once these other ones get in there? Because I thought, and we'll see how the weeks go, but I still thought if people have to choose between in the Christmas season, right? Avatar, Wicked, and Zootopia. I think most time you're still gonna pick Zootopia because it's a bit more family oriented, right? It's or even if you have people that are 5, 8, it's a bit more safer, right? Where Wicked, pretty safe still, but maybe people don't like musicals, or there's a bit more darkness there. Avatar, there's I think an age limit there, but right now that's sitting at 393. So what? It's about 400 million away from, like, give or take 400 million away from the first Wicked. So still doing well. And when we have the next few weeks, because Avatar's not until 3 weeks from now. What's the next 2 weeks? Behold here in December. So let's see. Wow, yeah, I guess there's some. We got Fackham Hall, which won't do the greats, but I'm excited to see it. Kill Bill, the Whole Bloody Fair, which I've not gone any previews or tickets for. Pretty bummed about that. Really don't know what Kelowna gets, what they don't get. Let's see. And then you have Five Nights at Freddy's 2. That's going to be interesting to see because obviously the first one did very well. And that wasn't a situation where it went to streaming like VOD, or it was Peacock, right? I think. And then also theater, and it cleaned up. What was the actual final number of Five Nights at Freddy's? Because also I think the budget was pretty, lackadaisical. Like, I don't think it was one that they had to break their backs over. Five Nights at Freddy's. It's loading. It's not gonna give it up here. Okay, let's see. Come on, numbers. I prefer it over Box Office Mojo. A little slower, but that's okay. But honestly, that's coming out. I'll wait till that loads. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, which will do well. We'll see. There's two things about it. Obviously, the first one, if it was not on VOD, there's a chance I would have gone to see it at theaters. I know a lot of people that did not enjoy that first one. Obviously, you have the diehards and that fan base that's going to go to it. But I think, to me, there's a lot of people like myself that did not enjoy it. And I don't know if they're going to be returning to it. Kind of like what I said with Wicked as far as why I wouldn't do outrageously well, because I still knew a couple people that are like, you know what, I saw the first one, good enough for me. I'm good to keep it there. Let's see, Five Nights at Freddy's, yeah, Box Office Mojo. I searched it a second, it's done. 291 million, pretty good. Domestic opening at 80 million, yeah, and that was, what was that budget? I gotta find that out because I'm just curious. 20 million. Oh, Blumhouse just killing it with that, those profit margins. So we'll see how that does, because I just don't see the excitement for that movie. Obviously, not like him, but I don't see the excitement. It is the second go around, and it is in December, which is like, is that the slot people want to be hunted down by with little bears and animatronics? I don't know, but at the same time, it could help that it's not on a Peacock or VOD, right? So you do have that, and then December 12th, you really got nothing. You got Ellen McKay, that's gonna not do nothing. Silent Night, Deadly Night, that's not gonna do anything. And the Grinch That Stole Christmas re-release, which we also don't have any tickets for. Like, that will probably do like a good little chunk of change for a re-release. But that week is just gonna be pretty much everybody make as much money as possible before Avatar gets here, right? And sucks it all up. But really, there's not like a big, like, Five Nights at Freddy's is not a kid crowd, right? And I don't even think that hurts Wicked. Like, I think that's its own crowd. You have some young adults, but I don't think it's going to be, one of those things where, oh, I saw Wicked, I'm not seeing that. So I think whatever Five Nights makes is going to be what it makes. Yeah, exactly. It was Peacock. Thank you, I suppose. But yeah, that's where it's going to be interesting to see. Now it's not you have to pay to see. Are people going to go out and do that? I personally won't. Saw that first one. I'm good to leave it there. I know they're like, we're going to make it scarier, and we heard your complaints. Did not enjoy that movie. And that was a movie too. I watched with friends. We did the Geek First Halloween party, like just us, nothing cast wise. It was me, Emily, Taylor, Kyle, Madison, his wife, and we watched it. Thought, oh, even if it's not the greatest, we'll have a good time. And we did not. I think Taylor liked it the most, but it was one of those boring watches where we had some fun trying to make fun of it, but was not a good time. So I have no interest in there. So that's the question, right? And now it's just 3 weeks from now. So what was that domestic opening? Obviously had a few more days, but the domestic opening for Zootopia was 158, right? Of course, I closed the window. I'll bring it back up. Avatar, which I guess we could talk about this because that didn't come up since last week, because we've been bugging Taylor, because Taylor does think that it's gonna, yeah, so 158 was the domestic opening. Well, right now Avatar is sitting at 110 to 130, and I think Avatar 2, because that was been the narrative both times, right? Was oh god, I gotta put Way of Water. These fucking titles. Had an opening of 134. So obviously, if it was 134, let's see. April says Five Nights at Freddy definitely has a huge kid crowd. I think you're right, April. I guess it's just like I'm talking primarily like like a Logan and Ellie that are 4 and 6, right? You're right that some people even 6 might have it, but I just mean like Zootopia gets all those people, right? Where the other ones gets Gwen like more that's, 8 to 9, 10. But you're definitely right. It has a big kid crowd, and that's what's going to carry it. So there's lots of those oriented ones where Avatar I don't think has a big kid crowd per se. And Avatar 2, I am interested to see how it's going to do. Taylor is right, and Taylor is usually good. Obviously, this year he had a lot of delays, so it screwed his draft list. But somehow he's had some good takes with the box office post COVID. Pre COVID, I'd say not good takes there. But so Way of Water, I think there is some stuff that he's right about where a lot of people, it was the nostalgia and it was, hey, they finally made the second one, let's see it. And they kind of scratch that itch off, right? Even myself, I still have not committed to that review because it's just so long. I'm like, with the second one, I would have, because I'm like, okay, let's see how they follow this up. And now it's okay. I know kind of the route we're going, what we're going to do. And maybe I could end up loving this one, but it's just like such a commitment, right? And I think a lot of people will see that, especially if there are same thing as Wicked and whatnot, where we had our Christmas party this week. And, Tyler Saris, who's in Gauntlet and has done some stuff. And she's appeared on a couple extra live streams. His wife, Amanda, they're good friends of ours because obviously Dylan and him were roommates. So we were over there all the time and they'd be there and we'd be hanging out. I remember they saw Avatar 2. That was just kind of fine. And they're not seeing this one, right? So it's the same thing as far as it. And this is just my life experience, right? This is me. If Wicked 2, beats Wicked 1 by a lot, it's like, okay, it doesn't matter that my mom had that experience. It's just, but that's what I'm just saying for my personal stuff that Avatar 3 could have that. So I don't think Taylor's wrong. I think I said that on that draft episode. I don't think he's wrong. It could have that impact. So right now it is projected to be 110 to 130, right? And projections that could be them easily lowballing it. And if it's like 130, even then that's 4 million. Like to me, if it's 130, I don't know why I stopped talking. I'm gonna make the exact same point. If it's 130 and it's only 4 million domestic, lower than Avatar, like 2, that's fine. Like anybody, it's lower. It's like that's fine. Like even the 110, because here's the narrative that I do not want to jump on, and I am on that thing where you don't bet against James Cameron, right? I remember when Avatar 2 or Avatar 1 was coming out. I really had no interest in that much. My sister ended up being excited and really enjoying it. So we ended up going to see it twice. But I remember me and my dad were kind of like, didn't really look for us, right? We saw it, and I remember him. It was like the Monday morning or the Sunday morning where he pulled, because he's into this stuff like me, not as much as obviously myself podcasting and whatnot, but he had pulled. I remember it was like a box office or Hollywood Reporter of the box office results, and because the whole big thing was made to do with this price, right? The budget of the movie, big hullabaloo, like, man, what a gamble! Is this going to work? New IP, James Cameron hasn't put a movie yet, and I should have known then. But with the long break Avatar 2, it's like with Titanic and the Avatars, I can't doubt him, right? I still think this is a $1 billion movie. But I remember my dad thought this narrative, and other people too, of, oh man, look at this. It really stumbled. It's not gonna, big film, but it's gonna be a disappointment money rise, right? And it's gonna really hurt Fox, which one of the only things that really helped Fox at those times. But I remember the narrative for Avatar 1 was disappointing opening weekend. Man, I guess they're like, I don't know if this gamble is worth it. And then it went on to make history, right? I remember because I talked about, I think it was the week of the vodka stream when I was on there. I think it was when Avatar came out, and there was a couple of people that had that as far as, the culture impact's not there. The opening weekend's smaller than they thought, yet compared to all these other movies that are coming out. It's not, lightning can't strike twice, right? And I remember on that stream I said, well, that's the same thing that happened with Avatar 1. Now, granted, I didn't know if Avatar 2, like, I didn't think it would be like top 5. I thought, okay, it's still gonna make $1 billion, be a huge movie, but to be the top 3 biggest movie all time, I was like, I don't know if it's getting that way, and it did. So same thing. I could even see Avatar 3 taking a dip, but being top 15, top 10, like, even if you're the top 20 movie all time, that's pretty fucking good, especially nowadays in post-COVID, post all the VOD and streaming, all that stuff. Like, if you're top, like Zootopia, breaking these records, there definitely was a time where many analysts and even myself thought, man, these records are going to like never be broken. We lived through the 2016 to 2019 era where all these records were broken, and that's just going to be the holder because the way life changes, right? So the fact that anything like Zootopia can come out and beat the Avatar Avengers Endgame in China, it's like, that's great. Like, that's what we want for theaters, right? We talked about in the Discord where it is that push and pull where, like a Minecraft, where you want to do well, but at the same time, you don't want people's bad manners to rise up and that be the experience, but I still want theaters to be around. So the fact that any records get broken, I'm happy for that. So same thing, Avatar. If it's in the top 20 to me, that's even top like it's gonna make a billion. And even James Cameron like, oh, if it doesn't make money, I don't know if we'll make those other ones. I just think it's negotiating time. I think it's time that he has to film those that contracts, money, time. It's probably to juice it up. Like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna do that, right? And I do. It's one of those things that I don't really want more Avatar movies from James Cameron. I want him to do more stuff, but I know that he's hinted at it or people have talked about. I don't think it's one you can hand off. I really don't. I think people will notice. I think people will check it out a little bit intent or unintentionally, but yeah, we'll see. So even if it opens at 110, I'm ready to see the lower than Avatar 2. It's not tracking like this yet. Da, 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 da. It's just a franchise that is an enigma. So right, that's not one to me. That of course we'll talk about the opening week on Trash Story. We'll talk about all this stuff, but it's nothing that I can for sure say this is the nail in the coffin. This is it. That's done. So we'll wait and see. But even then, so what? It has. That's a question of can it catch it, right? Like can Avatar? Because same thing with Zootopia right now. What's that? It's 500 million, so it'll break 1 billion, right? All it's going to come down to is what are Zootopia's legs in week 2, in week 3, and then what is it like that week in Avatar comes out? What is it like during Christmas? And what is that Avatar comes down? That's one of my favorite things about box office in the Christmas season, because look at a couple of years ago, right? Or I guess longer than that. It was 2018 where and I was somebody that thought, gotta move it, you're fucked. Mary Poppins is coming out, Bumblebee's coming out, and Aquaman. Myself, and I'll just say many others, thought Aquaman is dead in the water, no pun intended, is dead in the water. DC just had Justice League. They're a mess right now. I don't know if Aquaman shined. Bumblebee is coming from the Transformers franchise, where at that time, still big movies, right? This is last after Michael Bay. Obviously, they were starting to go down, but still big movies. And Mary Poppins, this is at the time where, nostalgia is a fucking drug, right? Mary Poppins proven to be one of those that went, oh, people don't care about Mary Poppins. I don't care about Mary Poppins. So I think there's certain things where it's just like when people tell me they don't care about the Muppets, big double birds, but I get it because I go, yeah, I don't think people do care about the Muppets, right? That's of a bygone era. So that proved where with Mary Poppins, it was bygone era. Bumblebee was people were starting to get lower on that franchise and didn't care about it. And Aquaman came out of nowhere. It was a perfect storm, I guess, of Momoa, and I guess maybe people want to be warm this summer. Or warm in the winter. I don't know. I'm still always surprised that is the biggest DC movie of all time. Kudos to them. I'm a fan of Aquaman, but no one had that on the bingo card, right? Christmas and December and all that stuff. And even then, like, people brought this up for Knives Out, which I think there's some warrant there. Last week when they put Knives Out in theaters, obviously Netflix doesn't release their budgetary stuff, and it's fine because I watch them both, but is there anybody that goes, oh, Knives Out is out tonight, and you're in that Netflix demographic, and you look at the Stranger Things that's out, do you not just sit home? Granted, you see a couple days later, but you might just, I'm going to watch this, right? That's what's going to be. I don't know how it's going to do, and we don't know because they won't release the numbers. Not so much Christmas, but the Stranger Things Volume 3 thing. It is a phenomenon. Like Stranger Things is massive, right? So the fact that that's coming out in New Year's Eve, that could throw a little wrinkle. We're never going to know the numbers, but it could take some business stuff away. So I think summer is becoming like this now, where I feel like for a while, summer, you kind of knew what the hits were going to be. It's just a variation of, hey, how many million? Is it 100 million off, 300 million off, whatever? Summer's a bit more of a crapshoot, but winter used to be that. So we'll have to see. All those reasons I listed, if you ask me, still, I don't think it will be, because I think that internationally Avatar does great a lot of different places, and even then, like what, Way of the Water ended, I think we talked about this, like what? Like 2.3. Like, let's say, I've said this before, like what happens if Zootopia does break 1 billion, but it's still, and Avatar is down 1 billion, still 1.3, right? Where was that animated list? Okay, so Inside Out 2 did a 1.6. So that's where the question is with Zootopia, right? Let me find out what Inside Out 2's opening weekend was, domestically at least. And I don't even think it had that China stuff going on for it, right? But let's see. And for Wicked, I think Wicked's track, it's doing good. So it didn't have those big drop-offs. I just still think Wicked is going to hit more than the first. That's what I've always said, or be around the ballpark. But and I still think like, what is 393? Very great numbers, but not like massive overhauls. And we'll have to see same thing the next couple weekends, how that does. But let's see. So that, like, look at that. Inside Out 2, domestic opening, 154. Zootopia 2, 158. And that was going to be my question, right? Is this going to perform like a Moana 2? We're still massive movie that's $1 billion, billion point zero five nine, or Inside Out 2, where it's $1 billion.698. And if we look at these numbers with the domestic and the bonus they had from international, especially with China, to me, I am leaning that way. So now it's a question of, okay, because I think I had Avatar 3 at 1.9 around there, because that's what, about 400 million less than Avatar. And there, don't get me wrong, there's a chance it still breaks 2 billion. There's a chance it's almost identical to Avatar Way of the Water, a little under, a little lower, like kind of like Wicked to Wicked 1, or Wicked for Good to for Wicked 1. So I think it's leaning towards the Inside Out 2. Man, we'll never hear the end of it. If Zootopia actually beats Avatar, and Taylor's just gonna call himself Nostradamus and just say, just puff his chest about how much he got it right. But I still think, because what? So 1.6, that's 2.3. So, and even then, let's round up, because Inside Out 2 was 1.698. So let's just say it's 1.7, right? So that would be about a $600 million drop for Avatar 3. I just don't buy it. And like I said before, don't get me wrong. If Avatar 3 finishes at 1.7, that's a great number. That's massive. That'd be huge. That'd be the biggest film of the year, right? That's the for domestically, because he's a 2 obviously was at 1.9. That'd be massive. That still would be, I would say, a little concerning for Disney and whatnot. Not as far as in the future. To me, if Avatar makes 1.7 billion, you easily greenlight 4 and 5 right there. I just mean, like, now, are you going to get those drops all the time, or is that the base it settles at, right? Does it settle like a 1.5 to 1.9? I don't know, right? So, yeah, it's same thing like with Avengers. I'm interested to see those drops from Endgame and whatnot, right? So, yeah, like, again, will Avatar 3 drop from 600 million? I don't think so. I think we're more, because I think those movies can drop, but I think in the same way that the first one was what? Well, even then though, right? Actually, isn't it almost 3 billion? I know they had re-releases, but still, Avatar, isn't that like a 1 point, or sorry, a 2.9? Let me see. So 2.9. So technically, obviously that helps, because like the re-releases help it get to the 2.9, but if you take that out, it'll be lower. So technically though, Avatar did have a 600 million drop from the first to second, right? Still 2.3. These are still like, all these are success. Like, to me, the only way Avatar would be a non-success is like 700 or under. And I don't think that's happening, right? Could it get to that stage at some point? Sure. But I don't think so. But even then, so yeah, 2.9, it drops. That's 300. And then 2.3, I guess it could, because there could be enough people that didn't like it, didn't have the nostalgia. I'm still going to say no. I don't think it's going to drop another 600. I feel like the more ways it's going to go is like dropping by 300, 300. Maybe if Avatar 5 comes out and they market it as the final Avatar, like whatever is marketed as the final Avatar, will get a bump, and maybe could even, if the film quality is there, get back to Way of the Water. But yeah, I'm still going to lean no, but definitely looking at that Avatar 1 to 2, and then looking at the Zootopia overperforming. There's a chance there. So we'll see. We'll keep track of it every Monday, see what's going on. Because, yeah, Anaconda is not going to do anything. And Mario Supreme, who knows how that's going to go. So there we go. Let's end it off here with Mike's Patreon question. And Mike, you'll be happy to know. I won't want to spoil this yet. So let's see here. He asked, and in the chat, if you have any answers, you can drop these as well too. I went to the wrong page. God damn it. It's that type of day. He asked, Christmas question. What are your thoughts on the old stop motion ranking / base Christmas TV specials? Got any absolute favorites? Any you haven't seen that you would like to? He says the Jack Frost one is his favorite, but I don't hear mention of it compared to the big ones like Rudolph and A Year Without Santa Claus. I consider myself a Jack Frost fan, but I will say, Mike, you made me spend some money today. I bought a $35 Canadian Cyber Monday Blu-ray that has all 18 specials of the because I didn't even know they were called rank-and-base Christmas specials. I love stop motion. Obviously, you guys know I've talked about Wallace and Gromit many times. That's like claymation, but it kind of like it's a cousin of that. I've seen a lot of these specials, but there was definitely some I had not seen, and to rank them, I can't. Mike, I can't promise I'm going to do a ranking in the future, but I would like to, because I want to watch these all. And this is something where it was like last year where I people know I love Christmas Carol. I consider that legitimately one of the greatest stories of all time. I'll watch it many. I have my go-tos, the ones that I watch, but I'll watch many versions and then new ones. But it's one of those where the original, the first one that came out, obviously, because it is based on a book. Let's see here if I can go Christmas special Amazon. Um, I watched that when I was much not younger, but maybe like plus, I just feel like I'd watch it, but it was older, and I feel like I just even then didn't fully appreciate it. But I still always watch one. Oh, that's the best one. You know, that's it. That's the best. And I just kind of decided that, and then I watched some more recent or modern ones, right? But then after I rewatched it last year, I decided, you know what? I gotta keep watching this every year because it was fantastic. It is the best one as far as the ones I've seen. There's still other ones I have to knock off, but I was like, just because it's older, you just kind of sometimes go, oh, that's where it is, and then you watch all the new stuff or because I saw lots of it as a kid, but I know I gotta get this back in there. So it's the same thing with these. Like, Mike, there's so many of these that I have. Like, I think I've seen the big ones, right? Because the big ones are like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa Claus is coming to town, Twas the Night Before Christmas, A Year Without Santa Claus, yeah, the Frosty ones and Jack Frost and all the Rudolph ones, right? I've seen those, and the same thing. Like, I've seen Little Drummer Boy, but I feel like I was maybe annoyed or didn't like it, and I don't have good memories of it. And that's where I feel like on TV, when these would play, it'd be a lot of them back to back, and a lot of them I didn't even know. And I looked online to buy them. They're like all over different places. There's like some YouTube specials that have them and they got taken down. So I honestly, I went and I bought the special here. I bought the Christmas, the complete ranking based Christmas collection Blu-ray, $35. So not that bad. So Mike, I will report back because I want to watch all these, and I do. I feel like lately myself, I have been going on to a lot of the older content when it comes to holiday stuff because I don't know. There's certain things, there's certain stuff like The Night Before where there's lots of references and everything, and that works for me because it's a whole movie. But then there's certain times now where it feels like there's other Christmas movies that are variations, or there's just a lot of references to other Christmas stuff, right? It's like, oh, I kind of like in that world where it's almost like the world before, where they're doing the trend setting, right? So I will report back at some point. Maybe it'll be a Christmas episode or something, Mike. But for the most part, like, I enjoy them, but I have to watch because there's stuff like Rudolph where everyone's like, Rudolph annoys the fuck out of me. It's like, I think I had that with me, Little Drummer Boy, but I don't remember, right? And same thing with like some of the Christmas Carol. I just remember really enjoying it, but then when I watched it, the first one that's black and white, I was like, no, there's some great visual stuff. And I always thought like later on versions they try to make it more scary, and no, that's like one of the more scarier ones, you know? So there's stuff that I just need to really go back. And that's why even stuff that I got to get back to my PTA watches, or there's stuff, as I said before, when I was in 2008, I see, or I guess 2006, I see The Departed, and then 2008, I see Dark Knight. In between there, because I feel like there's Dark Knight made me want to create stuff and want to do stuff like we're doing with GV Studios and everything like that, right? And make our movies and filming, where Departed opened my eyes up. And I remember just doing like what's the 100 greatest films, or going to the IMDb top 50 and just watching a bunch of stuff. There's so much stuff that I just spammed to say that I watched, and not that I didn't enjoy it, but just like, and that's a time like I'm in middle school. We have nothing going on. Like, I would kill for that time. Like, weekends, you don't have plans. Like, and I wasn't like, I did not do parties and go out that much and get into much trouble till I was older. Right. That's at a certain time. And it probably had a lot to do with confidence levels and stuff as well too in middle school, because I wasn't happy with my weight and how I looked, and God, haircuts awful back then. I don't really know. Well, I know when I clicked in. That's a whole longer story. But at that point, I feel like from 2006 2009, I was just spamming movies. So there's so much stuff that I watched that's like, I need to go back and rewatch it to appreciate it or critique it in a way where, oh, maybe I thought this was better than it was because the first time I saw this type of movie done this way, but now I'm older. Oh, this doesn't work or that doesn't work, right? So, and that's how I feel, where those were just on in the background. I'd watch them, but those ranking based Christmas specials were just on, and I think, oh yeah, I remember those, like not by heart, but tons. But really, if I were to sit down, I think the only one I remember, which I feel like everyone remembers because they spanned at school and it's just ones I watch with kids, is Frosty. Frosty's the one, like, and like that's like a old where everyone knows, right? So, but yeah, no, thank you, Mike, for putting that in, because I was like, you know what, I want to get those. And when I looked at all the specials that I like to watch them, I'm like, this is a pain. Like the pain to find the different streaming services and use terrible Canadian streaming services like Gem, which is like hitting you with a bunch of apps, and it's like one of our local streaming services. It's like, you know what, for $35. I would rather just spend and buy these and then call it a day, right? And that like that there's so much time too where nowadays like I I like to subscribe. I do understand. I love the quote, which I do understand to a point, but I think I've cheated the system. One of my favorite quotes is from Endgame is when they're Howard Stark says to Downey, and this tried to give me, especially because at this point we had Logan, our second child, and it is people. If you've not have kids and you plan to, I've said this. It's a cliche. Everyone will say this. It legitimately does blow by. As I just said, the twins had their birthday a couple weeks ago. Their year does not feel like a year. Like it's one of these things that there's even now things I regret where it's like we have the videos and photos, thank goodness, but with the twins, I was like, man, for all the girls and all the stuff I do, I don't know why I did not create a notepad and just talk about certain personalities they had because there's times where it's like I'll watch videos and photos and go, oh yeah, but when you're with the twins right now and their babies, like, oh, I'm gonna think of them as forever. Even Ellie, who is now 4 and was a baby, 3 years ago, it's like it's hard for me to remember that stuff because also it's just like, oh, so we got the multiple kids, but we're going. So I can't. Oh, right. In Endgame, when he said no amount of money bought you a second of time, right? Which that when I heard that, that hit with me big time. And I was like, you know what? That did make me look at life a different way and change some things. And I'm always trying to adapt. But now there is a life hack for that. And that's where I also use that where, okay, life, no amount of money ever bought you a second of time. And that was for just overworking, doing stuff. But now I use that quote and go, okay, where can it buy me a second of time? And that when I'm like, you know what? I could look through all these streaming services. I could look at streamers. I could find the YouTube link that's kind of meh. I could do all this stuff, or I could spend $35 and just plug in a Blu-ray. You know what? Better quality and the sweat off my brow. And then just even stuff like, and Emily doesn't want to do it. Stuff like she'll go to Costco. If she wasn't around or was greedy, I would never leave the house, never do any grocery shopping whatsoever. That's buying time because the time that I could do at Costco for an hour and a half, I could do so much here. But she prefers to, so she goes. I go once in a blue moon, but I hate Costco. Costco is hell. It is what I imagine. If I go to hell, if there is a hell, which I don't think so. I think I'm a good person. For whatever reason, if I'm going to hell, that means the God or whoever the person is, they're a terrible person because they have a very strict rankings. And come on now, if I go there and they're like, oh, how can we personalize this for Travis? Probably cost like a busy Costco, which Costco's always busy, but a busy Costco, my skin, is crawling right now. Just thinking about a busy Costco. Terrible stuff. But yeah, Mike, so I'll report back. So yeah, you said your favorite was Jack Frost, which love the song. So that's always stuck in my head that I'm Mr. White Christmas. It was in that and Batman and Robin, so just got stuck in there. And I'm a big Jack Frost guy. So yeah, I will I'll hopefully report back because yeah, I'm excited to dive into them. And those are perfect because especially right now with everything going on, we're trying to break off and watch the biggest Christmas ones because we always do it. Me and Emily, I like to save Trick or Treat, like the horror anthology one, the Halloween one, for the night of Halloween, the night before. But stuff just happens where we kind of go, okay, we guess even this year we got it in, but now we should start watching ones we really want to watch at the start because before we like to build up, we're gonna get to our favorites. Now you miss out time on the favorites, right? So, but in that sense, these have a lot of that are from 20 to 40 minutes. Those are perfect because a lot of times once we get home, do everything, eat dinner, homework, it's like, oh, we only got that amount of time and we can't start a movie. We want to watch some Christmas stuff. What do we do? And it kind of sucks, right? Sometimes that's where the cooking shows come in, Christmas holiday ones. But yeah, those will be perfect for that. So thanks, Mike. And yeah, if anybody, I'll talk about this in the future. Maybe like I said, there's a Christmas episode where we have nothing to talk about. Think about them, watch them. We'll return back to this. But yeah, that's Travis Told You. I will be back on the Wednesday. If you can think of, and I will also do that as well. But think of if there is any evergreen topics, putting any and ever together was breaking my brain. If there's anything you would like me to discuss or a topic that you think would be longer, throw it in for Wednesday because we have Weekly Geek on Tuesday and a Geek First episode on Thursday. And like the last time when I did the Batman Almost Cast actors, those weeks are going to be usually don't have much news because people cover the news. And then on Thursday, we do some more news. Unless there's something massive that breaks on the Wednesday, your boy is usually out of stuff. So yeah, look out for that. Think of any questions on Patreon I put there. Thank you everyone that was in the live chat. Have a happy December. Let's kick this off. Hopefully it's a good month for everybody. And yeah, I'll